Welcome. If you're watching the recording, it's Christoph and myself for now. It is the 18th of April, 2023, and this is the Wallet Scrutiny Call. It's collaboration between the Bitcoin design community and Wallet Scrutiny. We're just kicking it off. We're going to move into some discussions around designs and copy. And yeah, Christoph, I'll hand it over to you.
Sorry, just a sec. I am writing a message in the Discord real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
We're on the call now. So, you want me to share real quick what I worked on?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, it's one of the things I did. Have you checked out the latest dev link that Ed's working on?
Which one was that? The one that he shared a couple days ago, or has he shared something newer than that?
It's the same link. I'm not sure if he's made updates since, but I'll just share it. I'll post it real quick.
Yeah, Leo's going to be here in 2 minutes.
But I also took some screenshots here, as you can see. For example, so he did adopt a lot of things from my design, but he also made a few changes, like this list view here. So I basically just asked him, and he took on these product colors here as accent colors into the different pages, into the sub pages. So I really like what his touches that he's added in. We just need to figure out which ones we want to use.
Yep.
And then the majority of my work was trying to resolve the homepage, the details of it, because I'd like to get that done. Seems like that's a chunk that we can figure out. So one aspect is the product grid here.
Yeah.
So I componentized all of this stuff, and the filters are really a key thing. So if we look at the filters now, the list is super long.
Yeah.
They're different by operating system. I created a more compact design here, but I still think it's a bit hard to browse. A lot of the items have exclamation points. It's all title case, all kinds of stuff. So instead of so each of those is basically an individual test, and we also have test categories. So I was thinking maybe we should just group this by test category and not by test. And the test categories are the same that we use on the wallet pages. And they also have them already here at the bottom of the homepage, these wallets per category. So it's not a new thing I'm introducing.
Right.
But maybe for a user, it's just a little bit easier to see these test categories rather than, and then put the two main options at the top, just show me all of them, or show me all the ones that passed all tests. And then if you want to, you can go into categories.
This makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Because then they're going to have basically in front of them, this is the test process we've completed, and this is how we can also search based on the same test categories.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And then I mocked those up a bit. So here's, okay, actually one more thing. So here, for App Store apps, you can't reproduce the applications because you don't have, you just don't have all the data you need to process. So I was thinking that based on what operating system you pick, we have different filters. Because it's a different process. And then if you select iPhone, we put a disclaimer at the top that this is a slightly different test process than on Android.
Yeah.
So that's very clear. You don't have to go to the methodology page. It's just, we just tell you right away. And then the list of categories would be slightly different. And then if you use the filters, let me see. I put some examples like here. So here you see everything. I also added a pagination because right now At least on the dev side, it freezes sometimes because it has to show an insane amount of products.
I'm really sorry. My doorbell's ringing. I'm gonna step away for one
Okay,
second. So sorry.
okay, go ahead. Hey Leo, how's it going?
Hi, Christoph.
Okay, good. We just kicked things off, and I was going over the latest design updates I made for Mo and for the recording, so everyone else can watch.
So you said something about putting the differences not so front and center, but to hide it more when you found the product, and our methodology differs there, or how was that?
No, it's more so. So I started with this is from the current development page.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly long list. So I tried to simplify the list. I ended up with this one here. It's still a bit hard to read. So I was thinking instead of showing a list of individual errors or tests that could have failed, why don't we just show the groupings? So instead of saying that the products that failed because there's no source available, for example, you could group them and say, just like we have on the wallet page, there was a problem with the source code. You see all the ones that failed in the source code test category. And then within there, every product tells you, okay, hold on. So here I picked application build. So there are multiple tests within this category, and then every product here tells you at which test it failed. Like this one, I mean, this is all made up data, right? So some of them
Sure.
passed 4 tests, some of them passed 5, some 6, and then it tells you which ones failed. It just makes this browsing a little bit easier. And yeah, so
Yeah, but not so fast, because if I say, okay, I want to see the verdict that had source code issues, yeah, then I mix several verdicts into one. And how do I sort them within the group? Like, for me, the getting one test further is just another level of being better. So to mix those that failed, or those that passed 5 tests are not in the same category as those that passed 6 tests. So if I put them into the same grouping, then how do I mean, I could sort them internally by the finer grained
yeah,
tests, but then, I mean, the user would see, okay, up to here, there are 5 tests passed, and above that, there is a 6 passed tests. But then you would probably wonder why you can't filter by that. I don't know. What I think would make sense is to have in the detailed view not the 20 possible boxes, but to group it there and show the details according to what we found. Yeah. So if it failed to build from source, or if the source was missing, yeah, these could be either show one or the other, but I don't need to show them both necessarily. But then people will ask, how do you count if I don't see the 20 tests when it said 17 tests passed before?
yeah. Sorry, you're talking about the detail page now, not this overview page.
Yeah, in the overview page, I have the difficulty with, if it is fewer groups, then each group should have more entries.
So if you're a power user and you want to do this filtering by exactly how many tests were passed, then yes, that's, of course, it doesn't work for that. If people generally don't care about that, then we could get away with this.
Okay.
So that's the question. Of
I mean,
course,
you could try it
when you
out.
simplify, you always lose a little bit of detail. But that's one of the compromises where we'd have to figure out: is this more usable, and the having less filtering detail is acceptable? Then we could do it. If it's not okay, then this compromise doesn't work, and we have to do something else.
Whatever drives more users to care about transparency. I mean,
Yeah.
if it works, I'm proven wrong, and we should test
Yeah.
if it works.
I mean,
But
it's a
that's what I feel like. That would look weird, and then we get even more per verdict, because some verdicts are quite crowded already.
And one of the comments that we got from doing the usability test is people said, "Well, I want to feel like the website's helping me to make a decision." So that's that feeling that we want to create in people, is they want to feel like, not like the decision's really made for them, but that they can make an educated decision. So
Mhm.
how can we create that experience for them?
Yeah. I mean, if you if you have a list of 900 applications, then that can only ever be so useful, right? Filtering, if you see 16 or 25, you can scan those fairly quickly. But if you get to 50, 100 or so, then some people may want to do that, but you might want to use search, like some intelligent search feature or so that allows you to drill a little bit deeper
Yeah.
into this. But yeah, it's those categories like distribution 1420, that's kind of useless. And if you look at that, if you filter that, like what do you want to get out of that as a user? Like, okay, I want to
Yeah.
see the 1420 that applications that have almost no users. Like, what am I trying to do here?
And
What
from
am I looking
writing
for?
the about page, not the about page, the part of the methodology page today, what I understood is that the reproducibility is an aspect within wallet security. So it is a nuance within the entire security scope, if I understand correctly. It is not the overall picture. So it's a nuance in this.
Yeah, it's kind of the final test,
Yeah,
the boss test in a way, kind of.
yeah,
But I know Leo. I know you're shaking your head slightly. It's pretty nuanced.
Yeah. The thing is that all these others are completely at the discretion of the provider to
Yeah,
take all the coins of all the users, and I find that a quite important nuance.
yeah,
So to call it a nuance, like, oh yeah, and not reproducible is slightly better. No, not reproducible means that, like, for years they might be collecting private keys and there's no way of knowing.
yeah,
This is like, and just because reproducibility is not the norm, just because we are not there yet,
yeah.
to say, oh yeah, then reproducible is slightly better. No, that's not.
yeah.
It's not even a solution. Reproducibility is sadly not even a solution, because people can still get around delivering updates that would steal people's money, and so it's not even a seal of approval as much as it might look like with the green coloring. Then, well, yeah, I'm repeating myself.
Yeah, I'm just
It's
going to zoom in on this text that I added when you select iPhone, that it's not even possible to test that, and it's a modified test. So yeah, we have to do the best we can with this, understanding that, if you really want to be secure, you get a hardware wallet, you do all kinds of very intentional things to protect yourself and your stuff properly. But within that, we still have to do something, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to go through it. We have about 13 minutes. I'll lay this out, and then you can leave all your feedback. One of the things with these categories I was trying to do, I was trying to, for the users, try to create a system that they'll recognize. So there are test categories here. There are categories on the methodology page.
Yeah.
Now there are categories on the wallet page. Then I added states for if you type something in that doesn't make sense, search results. Then something so that covers this whole interactive piece here, also with pagination at the bottom. Then I looked into this prompt here, and I created stronger contribute and donate options, highlighted these a little bit. The text on the left is not, that's just placeholder. I
Mhm.
think it's mostly Ken's text, or carbs text. But I thought that was important that when we go down here, we tell you the mission and we directly give you big prompts to participate or support. And then this here is this big thing here, which I feel like it gives a lot of visual space to products that really shouldn't be promoted. So I created a tighter. I tried to figure out what the point of this is. And the point of this is that there are an insane amount of applications tested, and only a few of them make it all the way through. That there's
Right.
this pyramid happening. So instead of logos, I just created dots. And these dot patterns, I think they fairly clearly communicate that there's a lot down there and it thins out very quickly. And then again, I repeated the same categories here. So the categories become the repeated thing.
Maybe
And
we
then,
could compile like a static picture with color coding, like a pyramid. Like here, this color is the reproducibles. Those are like we have those levels, and we scale them the area by count, and then we have like all the tests lined up in a color coding and in one picture, not in one picture per category as you made it here.
we can look at different, we can look at different visualizations for sure. Color coding, introducing color coding here is now tricky because how do we code it? Do we show everything red and one thing green? It's like the same stuff we've talked about before.
I mean, it could be alternating neutral colors.
Yeah.
It's not like it would have to be the 16 standard colors. No.
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to leave your feedback.
I'll try something out.
And so I was basically trying to create a more complete version of this wallet page. And then between Leo, as I told Mo as well, I reviewed the dev site, and Ed also introduced a few new things like this list view. And I asked him what's the best way is to give feedback. And then between all the stuff that I've done and all the stuff that he's done, we should go component or segment by segment and figure out what we want to do. Which elements do we want? And then we can create final designs from those, ideally.
Okay.
And I did a very quick thing, alternate dog here.
Less Batman.
It's
Do you like the dog, Leo?
Yeah, I like it. I think the ear is cut off like a bit to the ear there. And usually you have like the shape of the face would define how the shape looks where the ear is cut off. And here the ear is like cut off a bit in a wedge. I'm not sure.
Some tweaks, but I looked into a little bit more with the frontal view, and it's extremely hard to get if you just have black and white or neutral, like counter space, whatever it's called. It's very difficult to create nice shading and get that contour. So this 45-degree almost side view is a little bit easier to get that distinct silhouette of a Doberman.
It's just the ear cut off that looks and that now do you see what I mean? That it is a wedge. It's not like parallel to the face shape, but it's like just a hard cut off that looks not like it's an ear. It looks like some other artifact behind the dog, like a sailboat on the horizon or something.
Yeah, and I guess it could be facing the mark as well instead of looking away. It's like it doesn't care.
So, Leo, do you prefer this dog? This slightly more preference for the second dog variation to the one?
I mean, this looks more authoritative or more attentive, like it's watching you. I don't know if it should watch you or if it should what should it watch? The other one is a bit looking away, but I mean
it's looking
it
around.
could look it could look to the left on the left of Wall Scrutiny and to the right on the right or something. Like it's protecting to both sides. something like that. Yeah. So just like that, it looks a bit like I don't care. Looking
Okay.
somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, so we can tweak this and try to get the effect that we want. Maybe it's
Maybe
just
if
the
you would
angle
see
of
the
the head
eye,
a little bit.
I mean, if it would be clear that the eyes are open, it would more look like it's actually watching. I mean, it has the ears up. That's already like paying attention. Yeah. But maybe the eyes could. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I quickly looked into something else, like trying to do this bouncy. Like there's some shield or something, and things are bouncing off of it.
Yeah.
Looks like ping pong, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like the trace of the ball.
Yeah.
Like two balls that are flying around, and doesn't look like shield or anything.
Yeah, the shield thing is not in there, but it's like things are bouncing off of some surface. The shield would be.
No, it looks like they're bouncing off each other, those balls.
That's so what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like you fight bullets with bullets. No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we should look into this one further. It's
What's your
quite a tricky one to.
What's your feeling, Leo?
I like dogs there. I mean, the Proud Dog.
Yeah.
It just looks a bit like Batman, and like I don't know. I mean, we could
I should have never
go
said that
and
word.
say,
If I never
no,
said
but
that, I wonder if you still would have thought that.
it's. I mean, somebody would have come up with the idea, and I mean, we could even go with it and say, yeah, we're the Batman page, and yeah, it's fun, and like it's not really Batman, so it's okay. So like this big snout there is not really Batman. It's like just the mask part is Batman, but it looks more like, oh, I don't want this one to bite me. Yeah, maybe if you would show the teeth there, like, or not really the teeth, but if you would draw like a small mouth there, it would look more like it might bite. Yeah, and not only watching, I don't know, and it would then also look less like Batman. But yeah.
So I have a very quick question for both of you, because before Christoph jumps off, because he's gone in 4 minutes. If you were to, so the reason for me asking this question is what a lot of the people said when they landed on the homepage was, well, why is reproducibility important to me? I don't know why it's important to me. So how would you summarize that in one or two sentences?
So, but that's where we have to start people off at a different point.
Yeah.
Right? The point is that what the whole point of this service is, it tests these applications for security. It's very thorough.
Mm-hmm.
And it uses a series of tests, and there's really only a handful of them that pass all the tests.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows you the ones that pass the tests. And if you want to, you can look at the other ones as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it will tell you what the problems are with those other ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so then you can go into, well, what are the tests? What are all the criteria and all this stuff? But the primary message is like what this whole thing does in the first place, why you're there. I mean, this is not
in that sense.
You don't buy dog food here.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense, you could boil down if you want fewer categories or verdicts, you could have verifiable and not verifiable. Then you're down to two, and you don't confuse the user with, Okay, and why is closed source better than custodial?
Mm-hmm.
Problem there is that it's not all. I mean, like there are so many custodians that are bound by so many laws and under so much scrutiny as the custodian that they're just better than some closed source anonymous developer that puts his software out and anybody might lose or everybody might lose their money and we wouldn't know who took it. Yeah. With the custodian, we would at least know who's in charge. Yeah. So it's not getting better the more tests you pass. You just get into different terrain there, but it's all not verifiable. It's all like we cannot attest to the quality of this, or nobody can from the outside. It's like you have to trust them.
So it's very much moving the direction of the copy in, well, maybe move away from the word reproducibility if everyone feels comfortable with that, and talk about security, and then talk about, well, the security is based on these specific tests. You
But
know.
you have to think about this as a sequence.
Mhm.
The user experience always starts with, some first impression. Like you hear this about this thing for the first time, you know nothing about it.
Yeah.
And then you get a rough idea, just one sentence, like what this does, how it benefits your life or whatever. And then you go deeper into it step by step. And at some
Mhm.
point if you become a regular user, you can get very deep into it, right?
Mhm.
But everyone starts with not knowing nothing. And
Exactly.
then, so we have to figure out what we're talking about. Reproducibility can still appear in all kinds of different places, but it should not be the first thing people see because they won't even know what the service is about. You know,
Mm.
for some people, sure, but they're also going to skip the experts are going to skip through the details very quickly. They'll just dig
Yeah.
in and they'll be able to make sense of it. But if you want
How
like a
about
broader audience,
animations,
sorry.
video? How about animations, videos that explain the concept?
You still need the copy. You still need the first impression top of the. Like, you load this thing before you click any videos. You look at anything. And you tell people what this is, and it can happen very quickly. We can take people very quickly to these things,
Mhm.
but it just has to happen in a certain sequence.
Mhm. Yeah. The sequence in which, so it's giving that feeling of them, of when they arrive, it's good, I feel like I understand what this website's about. Now I'm going to go one layer deeper. Okay, so they perform all these tests, then I'm going to go one layer deeper. Okay, now I'm going to understand the intricacies of how these tests are performed. Oh, there's reproducibility, there's that.
I think I think exposing all the products on in a list form on the landing page is just not helpful. So I think I mean I made it like that because I load them anyway on any page on Wallet Scrutiny. It's just one JSON array, and then I have a filter for reproducible, and then I could make that like okay, you can switch to the other categories, and you could have like a breakdown of those in the drop down and stuff. So that's why I put it there that you can also filter by what's the custodials. But I
Sorry,
think maybe
I'm
you
gonna have
have to
to hop
go.
off. I'll watch the recording later. Please put notes, put everything in
Yeah,
Figma, leave comments and
yeah.
everything.
But Mo, you have more time.
I'm going to stay on for the next half an hour, I'm good.
Okay, so
Okay.
maybe we can get to something.
Let's go. I'm going to share my
Yeah.
screen. I'll just try to get Christoph Designs up here on my screen. Let me see here. I'm just going to pull up Figma. Let's just,
So for me, your video is frozen anyway. I don't know. My internet is terrible. I just yesterday realized how terrible it is when I tried to move my backup from plugged into my PC to somewhere else in the house.
mm.
It's really the Wi-Fi that is slow. It's not even the internet.
So
And
are you not able to see my screen right now if at all, if I share my screen, or?
I see a frozen image of your face. That's all I see.
Oh, goodness.
Sorry, but let's just let me just finish the idea. Like, I think the reproducible ones that should get exposed, and maybe not the stale ones, and not those that are just outdated,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the outdated is when we failed to update our review for the latest build,
Mm-hmm.
so they belong there too. But I think it makes no sense to let the user search for custodial wallets. Why would he want to search for custodial wallets? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be somewhere, some page like find all wallets here, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
get to all of them and filter by those categories. But the idea, like in the beginning, Wall Scrutiny had like a list of all the wallets because I started off with 40 of them. And then the list got longer, and then like, oh yeah, if I render them all, it takes a minute to load for a page. So I cut off the rendering at some point, and that was the wallet categories that you still see on the page, where you now can click on Show All, and then it loads like thousands of, or at least hundreds of logos, and but that is stuff that is not really needed in the landing page. In the landing page, I want to showcase what, by our methodology, is considered the most secure, so
Mm-hmm.
the reproducible ones. And if you switch to iPhone, yeah, like the best you can get is not reproducible. But anyway, those are the best ones, and all the others are strictly worse.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason to let the user filter at the landing page for thousands of wallets. Yeah. And especially if we put the graphics there, where you can see, oh, there is not only these 8, there is actually 4,000 that we looked into. So
Okay.
then the user could see that, and we could show this, as I suggested, as a pyramid, or as those blocks that Christoph painted, and it would make the page load much quicker. It would be just some infographic there, and it would not be inviting the user to search for those wallets, because we don't want them to search for the non-reproducible ones. And
So what I'm hearing is that you like. Could we maybe hop into this Figma design together? Because maybe you can see it on your screen and you could actually talk about it while you're looking at it. What I'm-
let me log into Figma, and then I can follow you, right?
yeah, I'm gonna put the link in the chat just in case you didn't have it from the last call. And I'm just going to see if I can actually locate that design, which we were just talking about. That's on the home page. Now, where is that design?
So I see Mo, and I think I'm following you. Do you move?
Yeah, I'm logged in 2 times now. I'm going to log out of the other one, but
I was wondering. I see one hand moving and the other one not. And
is
I was
it
like,
homepage explorations? I'm just trying to see where Christoph was. Was it this one? No, it was not this one.
I'm now following the correct one. Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This one here. I'll just move my mouse around like this.
Yeah.
So
So
here.
yeah.
So you commented that you really like this aspect over here, this concept here, if I understood correctly, which he's
It's
presenting.
much better than having it as a browsable list where I can load those, dig into. I mean, as Christoph said, there's no good reason why we should give so much space to inferior products.
Hmm.
So, but on the other hand, I like the scaled view where you can see most people are using those custodial products. So in the Android category, we know how many users those products have, and
Hmm.
it's quite impressive to see. Like if you go by wallet count, it's terrible, but if you go by wallet users, it's even more terrible. Yeah, and so I like this distinction, and I like that visual when
Hmm.
you see all of them, and the reproducibles are just like a tiny bit of the whole spectrum.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it doesn't need to show. I mean, it's nice to see the logo and like, oh, PayPal. Why is PayPal in there? And then you could click on PayPal and read up on PayPal. Why? Oh yeah, PayPal lets you buy bitcoins, but you cannot withdraw them. And oh, that's why it is a
Hmm.
can't send or receive Bitcoin wallet kind of thing. And but it's like for curiosity and for exploring, but it's not for your personal security. If you're a PayPal user, you might know that PayPal just has all the control over your stuff, and there's enough cases of people not being able to control their money, so
Yeah.
it's
You
not such a
like,
big surprise there.
if I understood correctly, so you're saying you like this view where it's like, it's putting the showcase a little bit on, well, these are the wallets which all test pass. These are the wallets which have development related issues. You like this kind of way of showcasing it. It's very succinct. It removes the logos. It keeps everything very neutral as well.
I
Um,
like this a lot because I mean I'm not sure exactly what he did there, why the gray boxes are sometimes more or sometimes less.
mhm,
So I think either you show this is the percentage this category has within the whole,
mhm,
or why is the bottom box so much bigger? Yeah, and what is gray and what is color coding? So this is not so clear. I think it would be nicer to have it all in one box with color coding, like maybe you have the verdicts on the left and
mhm,
chart on the right, and then when you hover over one verdict, then it highlights the area on that pyramid, or maybe a circle chart, or like a pie chart or something.
mhm.
Um, yeah, something like. I was experimenting with pie chart libraries that are interactive. I think it would be quite easy to add it, or like not only pie chart, it could be any chart.
Yeah,
So so we could have that dynamic. What I also always wanted to add is how many products we actually reviewed.
yeah,
Many of them are not wallets, so we would probably filter out those that we found out not to be wallets, because why would we review stuff that isn't a wallet? But well, it takes a review to find it out, and sometimes people ask, why
yeah.
is that product not here? Well, it's not a wallet, or it's not for Bitcoin. I mean,
This
where we make the cutoff there.
this is very smartly done by Christoph as well, is because it says we reviewed 4,412 wallets. So, if a person comes on here and they see, well, look, they've actually spent this time reviewing
Right.
this many wallets. That's showing craftsmanship, it's showing dedication to a specific thing.
Proof of work.
It's proof of work, exactly. So I really like that in those big bold letters there. I think it brings trust into the whole homepage design. So personally, I really like this. We've reviewed all these wallets, and we performed 17 tests across 6 categories. I see you reading the copy over here as well. Some copy here, Okay, there's more to protecting your Bitcoin, while some wallets claim to be open source. And then he has Christopher. There's another section here. Security starts with scrutiny. And then there's a contribute, which is nice here because it's inviting people to contribute. Um, and then there's the donate one over here. And I think I recall from the last call you said, well, you'd like maybe it to be a little bit more specific. So if they click here, the action is going to take them to the next page, which would be, we'd like some help reviewing these specific wallets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's still something we have to specify, how
yeah.
to identify those in an automatic fashion. I'm currently trying to hire people that help me
Hmm.
with the repetitive work of
Yeah.
following up on all the products, because
Hmm.
I'm falling behind with that, and doing new wallet reviews instead. And yeah, but identifying those and then asking people to have a look at those might be interesting.
Yeah. And do you like the donate one there as well, which Christoph also included the contribution of
I,
donate?
I'm not getting any donations in a long time now, and I think I'm not making much of a buzz lately.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on. I would have to dig into how the trend is with visitors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I removed the donate button from the top of the page because people complained about it.
Yeah.
But here, where Christoph put it, it's kind of standard. It's not moving. It's not
Yeah.
flashy.
Yeah.
It's just a call to action where it belongs.
Yeah.
So it's okay. But I have little hope. I hope that it will drive a lot of donations.
Yeah, I guess it's you could also test it. You could maybe leave it for now in the beginning, and then if you see, well, it's not really driving any interactivity, you can always remove it
Of course.
if it's not driving any interactions. But it's a good next step. It also feels like when the person would click on contribute, what are they going to see then? Because there's going to be that next pop-up screen that's going to pop up and say, look, these are the wallets we'd like you to review. So what would that screen look like? That's a question mark. What would that screen look like? um,
Probably kind of those badges there.
yeah,
A list of those badges, like I'm using in different places anyway.
yeah, just like this, very similar to this one here, which is at the top of the page.
Right.
Yeah, I played around. I'd like to share a little bit of. I worked on some copy for the methodology page,
Okay.
and I'd very much like to share it with you because I took quite some time today trying to understand what reproducibility is. It's quite a technical topic, so I tried to understand it as best as I could, and I tried to think about, okay, well, how can I write this in? How can I introduce people to this concept on the methodology page? So if you click on the methodology tab, yeah, you found me. If you click on the methodology tab, I created some text here. Now, I'd love to hear your feedback on it because understanding this concept we're trying to explain this concept. So I wrote that we're hyper focused on one security aspect of a Bitcoin wallet, and this is called reproducibility. Um, Once again, this is really loose at this stage, and I don't know if we want to mention it all the way right here in the beginning. I said this is really to check the security of a wallet from one specific security angle. Protecting your Bitcoin from potential threats is what our testing process focuses on. Think of us like a guard dog of your Bitcoin. You'll hear us bark if we sense a potential threat.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not complete. I mean, the very focused thing is maybe transparency, or as I call it, verifiability. Yeah. And reproducibility is just the pinnacle of verifiability.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so people would understand better what's going on if we said, okay, we care about verifiability.
Yeah,
But then people confuse it with, do we actually verify it? Because it's the ability to verify that we care about. It's
yeah,
not that we actually verify the source code. And
yeah.
that's like one piece of the puzzle that we very openly are missing. And
Mm,
uh, where I have a disclaimer about that, and it's just too resource intensive to provide code review because it's just a full-time job for just one product. So
yeah. So it's I'm making some notes here as you're talking. It says we care about verifiability. It's the ability to verify the, how would you say, verify the security of a wallet.
right,
Yeah, that sounds good. Verify the security. Hmm. Okay, that sounds good.
the ability to verify the security. Yeah.
Okay, verify. Cool.
We do
Okay.
not verify the security of the wallet because a custodian can be very secure, but it depends also on the threat model. Yeah. So the custodian can get strong armed into surrendering certain balances, but that might be desirable for certain actors to.
Mhm.
It's a long topic.
And then I wrote here, so it's that first sentence that's not quite, and then it's protecting your Bitcoin from potential threats is what our testing process focuses on.
Yeah.
Think of us of like a guard dog of your Bitcoin. You hear us bark if we sense a potential threat.
Right.
Here, I'm trying to do a little bit of education about reproducibility. Um, and I took a little bit of the, this is a bit simplified. It's very simplified. I said it's essentially knowing whether the Bitcoin wallet you have is fully open source and secure. I took that from the homepage copy.
No, that's not what I wrote. Certainly not from my homepage.
Yeah. So how could we word this so that it's
Reproducibility is that the auditable source code can be compiled into the exact application that the user is running. Now, you probably complain that this is not simple enough, but
maybe we can work with that. We can work with it. We can think of something.
like people heard about open source. And I don't use the word open source because open source is source available under a certain license. And I don't care about the license. So I have to say public source. But we can go with open source if that rings a bell for users and they are not more familiar with it.
Mhm.
Then I think we can allow the term open source in a simplified explanation, although it is technically something that some people might attack us for. But I think if it's just in one spot and in all the other places we talk about public source, it's fair enough and nobody will care. Yeah, so you can say, okay, open source is not enough. You also have to know if the program you're using is actually using that open source. Yeah, and that's what we verify. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm just making some notes here. Okay, perfect. And here I try to do some education around why reproducibility is important. So I took one line of here directly from your website, your initial website copy was it ensures that your wallet could not potentially be emptied by anyone else other than you. So I'm really trying to put it really in a practical way so that people can understand, well, it's really important for me, you know.
Yeah, but it's not sufficient for that point. That's also my headache. Security researchers could find threats that would empty your wallet at any time
Mm-hmm.
if it is reproducible. If it's not reproducible, no security researcher in the world can help prevent such a scenario. Yeah, like it's just one step away, and it's just such an expensive step that we cannot provide it. Yeah. So in that sentence, you're overpromising.
Okay, so how would you reword the sentence? It ensures that your wallet.
Only
Mhm,
only with reproducibility
mhm,
can third-party security experts spot backdoors that could empty your wallet, something like that. Like absent of reproducibility, any code audit makes no sense at all. It's not helpful to audit a code if the code is not provably related to the app that people are using.
mhm. Okay. Here I touched the next point I touched on is what we do. So this is now leading very much into the next page, which is tests we run. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure if, I thought, well, hey, maybe it's an idea to give a little bit of an overview, a very bird's high level overview of, well, we do
Yeah.
general tests, we do developer tests, we do custody tests, we do source code, and then to provide like a one sentence explanation of what this is.
Yeah. Like general test, is it a wallet at all? And if so, does it manage Bitcoin? Developer, like, I don't know. But custody, if it's for Bitcoin, who's the custodian? Is it you, the app, or even some third party, or is
Mhm.
there even like there's those situations where you can speculate on the value of Bitcoin, but they don't even claim to have a third party custodian. So we mark it as you cannot send or receive Bitcoins, uh, but uh, but some of them promise they are holding Bitcoins on your behalf, but some don't even make that claim for us. It's all the same category, and
Mhm.
it has to do with custody in a sense, like are you the custodian or somebody else like the app provider or third party or no custodian at all.
Mhm. Mhm. So it's just, it's coming up with a little bit of a maybe like a one-liner explaining all of these.
Yeah,
Kind of. I'd like some help from you guys with coming up for that because it's try to word it in a way that people really understand that the developer test. This is kind of general overview what we're testing. The source
yeah.
code. This is general overview what we're testing.
But the idea is to boil the 20 verdicts into a shorter text, like shorter general questions, and where in the explanation, like 5 verdicts might just be 5 words in a more general concept. So we can boil it down to some more digestible amount of data.
yeah, yeah. So you're saying try to work with this, but maybe even try to simplify it even further.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And how would you see us simplifying this even further? Because we have it kind of broken down now into, those 9 categories. Would you even group certain things here already?
The thing is, we don't really look into privacy or the developer is a difficult concept. Like there's some apps that have groups of developers, companies behind it, changing developers. Like um, you guys came up with putting some things into the developer category.
Mm,
I would have to look into why that term came up. But
yeah.
for example, privacy is not really something we look into right now. I wish we could, but it's really a complicated topic because some ways of doing things um, make it more private under certain assumptions. Like if if the provider is actually doing the right thing, it could be quite private going through the servers of the provider. But on the other hand, maybe the provider is lying and he's taking note of all your transactions instead of shielding your privacy against the broader network. And yeah, so there is stuff to be said. Yeah. I think what these terms come up why these terms come up is because we wanted to have them included in the wallet reviews,
Yes.
like as an explainer. So if you want to evaluate the security of this product, we approve it's reproducible, but do you trust the developer to not push an update like the deployment to your smartphone? Do you have your smartphone set to
Hmm.
not accept, not auto update when the developer pushes something? Things like that would go into these spots, but it's not something that we test. Like we test less than that, but we inform the user about all those aspects, or
Yeah.
we should.
So of these categories here, we have general tests. Is that one fairly okay to keep in?
Yeah, that's where we check if it's a wallet and if it's for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Then the
Is it
developer is something we don't test for.
okay?
Custody, yeah, we test for. The source, yeah, we check if there is source availability.
Yeah.
And privacy we don't test for, but it's obviously important for your security.
Yeah.
And the application build, yeah, when there's source available, we check if we can build it, and then the distribution, yeah, then there it's getting complicated because distribution on Android is easy, but on
Mhm.
hardware wallets, um, we make certain assumptions in our tests that we could only verify in a very complicated or expensive way. We would need the hardware devices. We would have to set up the actual update process. We would have to verify that it actually pulls the code. I mean, we would have to analyze the companion app and not only the firmware and the hardware wallet. Like the hardware wallet is supposed to get updates from somewhere, and something is getting it for the hardware wallet because the hardware wallet doesn't have internet. So the hardware wallet connects to your computer. Your computer gets the update from the internet,
Mhm.
and now whenever wherever it gets that update from, that might be malicious. So it might have like when the provider would switch to a different, uh, it could deliver a different binary to different regions in the world or specific users that it knows have a lot of Bitcoin or something like that. So
Mhm.
the verifiability there in the distribution is quite tricky. With Android, we can be a bit on top of it by downloading it from all the places with a special app that could do that. With the hardware wallets, we would have to tell the user, look, this is the fingerprint that we verified to be reproducible. If your hardware wallet doesn't show that fingerprint, then we cannot make any promises about what you are installing. And that is the distribution part, which we should warn about, but we cannot really test for. I mean, we sometimes touch a bit on it, but we don't test it like with a black or white. Like uh, certain distribution methods are a certain verdict. Like
Yeah.
we look at it occasionally, and the operating system is more the platform. Like, is it a hardware wallet? Is it iPhone, Android, or is it a desktop wallet, which is a yet to come category?
Okay.
And the smartphone, yeah, like on Android, you can fingerprint an app. On iPhone, you cannot fingerprint an app, or if you could, you would always get different fingerprints. It's just iPhone doesn't like the transparency there.
So I'm just adding some notes here. Okay, cool. So what we have, just to summarize, I'm just going to go through those points and then we can wrap it up because we're on the hour. So the developer category, not really. The source code, correct. Privacy, not really. So really, it's the developer category and the privacy category is not really.
That's like some of the tests we run is the other stuff, and some of the or some of the questions you should ask yourself is like the developer, somebody you trust, and
Yeah,
is the privacy promises of the product sufficient for you?
yeah.
Yeah, that's would
Mhm.
have to be pulled out there.
So I'm just writing here, this is a question you should ask yourself. This is for the user. Yeah.
Yeah,
Make note. Okay. And what did, sorry, could you repeat about the privacy one as well, please?
yeah, like you should ask yourself if you are comfortable with the privacy or the privacy promises of the selected product.
Hmm.
Yeah, because we don't analyze it. I mean, we might comment on it in some cases. I wish we could do more on that front, but
Yeah.
it, it's complicated.
No worries. So I've added some notes. I think that was really useful in terms of going through those categories and which ones, you feel you really test. Yep. So we just finished. We wrapped up that discussion. The recording stopped on its own on the hour mark, but we were just wrapping it up. But Leo, thanks very much for your feedback with
Yeah,
regards to the designs. I'll make some notes on the feedback that you gave, and then we can move forward with the quickly on the introduction page, and the design on the homepage, and also the dog logo as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your time too, and see you soon.
See you in a week. Yeah, see you in a week. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.